Assalamu alaikum, Father.
Walaikum salam.
For everyone who's listening to this interview, we are all being blessed to have the opportunity for Father to answer a number of questions that have either come up from us as a whole or things that will be of quite a bit of benefit to the entire nation as a whole, as well as Father's going to address some issues and some knowledge that we have not heard before. And everyone's going to have a wonderful experience in studying this particular interview. The title of this interview is The Gradual Approach to Allah. So everyone keep that in your mind as we go through this, and you'll see why as Father begins to answer questions for us. Father, I'd like to start off by first thanking you for accepting this particular invitation, because it's been quite a while since we as a nation have heard from you. So thank you much.
Yes, sir.
In order to start this off properly, in order for everybody to be on the right page, I'd like to ask you a couple of things that you have explained to us before, however, that we still find ourselves struggling with.
Yes, sir.
First one, Father, is would you explain in the right, as we really should understand it, what Allah really is?
What Allah really is?
Yes, sir, Father.
You answered it. Allah is. He is. Well, Allah is the is. The definite.
Yes, sir.
Outside of that, there would be nothing that would be recognizable, or there would be no way to describe or to identify or be a part of. So Allah is the is.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Father. Got it. The second one that you've explained to us before, however, that would be really beneficial if you could share with us again, is what is love according to Allah?
Love is it's an emotion or an expression of the acceptance of someone or something that causes great pleasure to the one that is giving the love. So it has been shared by me sometime prior that when you love someone, that you almost bend over backwards to make sure that they're happy.
Yes, sir.
You lower yourself. When I say lower, it means that not that you necessarily lower your standards, but you don't put them above you. You put them in a frame of thinking that causes them to be very peaceful and at peace with you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Father. As a follow-up to that, would you share with us what you love?
The truth.
Yes, sir.
To expound on that a little. In other words, I love that which can be proven because it gives stability to all thoughts and motion. And that's something that's extremely rewarding. So things that are rewarding, it brings about the process of love. Because it doesn't put you in a situation, or let me say it this way, it keeps you in a situation where you're free.
Yes, sir.
So anyone that has a understanding of what freedom is, they love it. Matter of fact, we have a whole race of people here that seemingly is in charge of the earth. That's mainly one of the things they always speak of. Freedom.
Yes, sir.
They'll take everybody else's freedom just to be free to take theirs.
Yes, sir, Father. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Now, because you just brought up freedom, Father, one of the things that you have shared with us a number of times is that in order for those that are with you to experience freedom like it's really supposed to be, you've expressed to us that there's a lot of small or simple things that we have to consider in order to experience the kind of freedom that you experience.
Yes, sir.
Father, would you share with us what some of those things are? What are the kinds of, how does a person need to think to allow themselves to be free, even though we have a structure and a system and, there's laws and whatnot? However, within that, there's quite a bit of freedom. However, many of us are having a difficult time experiencing that freedom. Would you share with us how a person should think to experience that?
Well, and to experience true freedom, one will have to experience a lack of opposition to the entity. We may be free to do many different things, but true freedom is something that it does not offend nothing of your entity or person. Yeah, that's true freedom. And from that, love is developed. It's just like you have something as small as an ingrown toenail. I don't care what is going on in your life. If you got that and you haven't taken care of it, it takes away your freedom.
Yes, sir.
Or a toothache, or you get a splinter, something that is always pulling at you, demanding that you do something about whatever is pulling at. That robs you of your freedom.
Yes, sir.
In other words, when we experience the way that Allah has designed us to live or to experience freedom, then it's really free. We have nothing there to take our mind or attention off of being free to something else that's stopping it.
Yes, sir, Father. Absolutely. I didn't intend to even ask you about this. However, what you just described, is that one of the keys in the sisters understanding how to be with their husbands? I shouldn't say not to. However, that they supposed to express themselves in such a way where, as opposed to constantly presenting something to cause their husband to pay attention to that instead of what he's supposed to be doing, that they instead conduct themselves in a way where they cause him to always be able to pursue his nature?
Oh, yes, sir. The main thing about a relationship between a man and a female, if the female is not submissive, the man cannot be free, because they are always bringing something to that situation that makes the man either stop or pause or give thought to something that he really isn't in agreement with. That robs him of the freedom. Now, to the female, that may be natural to her, because she is not God. She's not Allah. She's not the Creator. She's something that has been made to be close to the Creator. So, if she's to be obedient, or when she's obedient, then the God can be free, and she will benefit from that, because when you're free, you're at peace, and everything that will come from you is peace, and that's what they would. That's what they would experience: complete, total peace and happiness. However, we are working towards that, and we made pretty good strides in that direction.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Father. This, man, what you're sharing about freedom is something that everybody who's listening to this, I hope, really pays attention and studies this particular idea, because, Father, you've been sharing with us for a long time how the knowledge that you give us makes us free. However, what I understand and what you're expressing is that, even when it comes to something like having a home or being in a home and leaving something out of order, or knowing that something needs to be fixed, so, there's a slow leak under the bathroom sink, and you just keep putting a bucket under it instead of really fixing the leak.
Yes.
So something's always demanding our attention that's really not right.
Right.
And it takes away our ability to be free, because even something as simple as you're not free to enjoy your own home because there's something that's wrong that we haven't put in check.
Yes, sir. And
so I see that.
Yes, sir. And the problem with that is that as long as we stick to submitting to the female, we will have a perpetual problem of that, because nothing is never satisfied with them. You know, you can nail your bedroom furniture down and whatnot, and you give it about a month, at least 6 months, and they're going to unscrew it and change it. In other words, what I'm saying is they're very physical. And the man that is running this particular way of life here on this planet, he's a physical man. You know, he does things very physical. He don't have what we have as an entity that is creative. You know, he makes things and builds things out of that which has been created, the same as what the woman's been made from the man, which was created. So there's always never from him a peaceful situation that is lasting.
Yes.
So it has been developed, or it has been passed right to our females. They think that this is a normal, regular, expected activity. And until they go back to being to their innocence, the God cannot be God unless he get rid of them.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Father. Absolutely. I see that. And that explains even further why you've been instructing for so long for everyone to study the idea of how to return to innocence. Because that keeps the man helping his wife to do that and the sister doing that, it keeps them free, because now instead of responding to something that comes from the world that's a part of the way that either the sister is thinking or the way the husband's dealing with things, instead of constantly responding to something from Satan, we get to respond to what Allah really put in us by nature.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
I definitely see that. Yes, sir, Father.
Yes, sir.
I definitely see that. Father, yes, sir, excuse me.
I was going to say, and the majority of the time, since most of us have been born in sin and been baptized in it, it's almost like it's impossible for the black man or the man himself to see past what has been put in front of him, which is physical.
Yes, sir.
And that's why it is so difficult to bring about a situation where there's total peace. And this problem is so magnified that it is in Scripture, or it's been prophesied, then that the earth is going to reel and rock like a drunk man because of this very problem. Allah is no longer allowing that to perpetuate itself in his presence. He has given as much time that is necessary, matter of fact, a little more than what's necessary, to draw a complete conclusion as to what must be done and how it is to be done. So now we have this. It only has to be implemented, and it is being implemented gradually in a way that most people don't realize it, because they're caught up in the false representation of what love, peace, and happiness is. Get that money, get that job. And none of that has anything to do with happiness. It's a prison that locks you in and makes you think that if you would live another day and just hit that number, you'll be happy forever.
Yes,
well, don't work.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's deep, because that's an example of how everything that Satan causes people to go after, it only ties them further to him. He never gives them anything that really makes them free.
Yes, sir. And this is why, in the United Nations of Islam, what we've got started and whatnot, and the members that are full-time, we call them members, just like on the body we have members of the arms and legs and other different parts of the body, nose, eyes, lips, so forth, and whatnot. They're to be in conjunction or complete harmony with the reason and the purpose of the body.
Yeah.
So the members that's in the United Nations of Islam, they still, with all the knowledge that has been shared, the practical way way what they think life is supposed to be is still giving them problems because they have not yet realized, to be peaceful and to be free. You have the freedom maker in your midst.
Yes, sir.
And if you would just try it genuinely and don't feel like because you start feeling free, you're missing something.
Yes, sir.
That's when we step into our creative being, when we are free, and then we start to say, wait a minute, I need something to do. Well, we already know the other part that has been done, it has human errors in it. So then you start calling on your God power. And then what I'm teaching, and what we are experiencing, the hierarchy, the original Allah, and then there are other beings in the universe that is willing to aid and help us to be free. That's what we should be going after, instead of feeling like, I feel like I need to do something. I don't know what I'm doing. And you go back to what you used to do. Find something wrong to feel good about it for a while. And then you start, come up all with the things that put you back in prison, the arguments, the disbelief in things. And
yes, sir. Yes, sir, Father. Absolutely. Absolutely. That actually leads to what I wanted to ask you about next, Father, and that was I would like to ask you, what should the members that's with you be focused on at this time? And and I'd like to express my understanding to see if this is correct. What I understand you to be expressing is that what everybody that's with you right now should be focused on is pursuing what will cause us to be happy and free, and that doesn't keep us attached to something that's old. It's like, and also that we should be pursuing that kind of freedom with the idea in our mind that we're not alone in doing that. That the hierarchy, the original law, yourself, and even those other beings that you spoke about that are willing to assist in that the more that we accomplish, or the more that we make ourselves, that we qualify ourselves for, the more there is to give us for us to experience this freedom.
yes, sir. It's already written, and I have shared quite a few times. My duty is to make you just like me. And there's no time that, from the core of me, that I'm not at peace or I'm not happy. Now, when I deal with, I'll say, you all are the reason of why I'm here, then, yes, I can be somewhat uncomfortable. However, I already knew this before I took on the duty to do this. However, if you trust in what I'm sharing and start living what you can do of what I'm sharing, you will see it's not that hard to be submissive. And in this way, you will become like me. And it will get better and better and better. But to always have a fight with what I'm sharing as to what our enemy is presenting to us, you'll never be free, and you'll never be like me. That won't happen. And then, how shall I say this? There is nothing that you need for the time that you need it that's not presented to you or for you. The black man is not God yet in the way of being God. He is that, and I'm teaching him how to be it. But he cannot mix it with what his enemy says should take place. It's written that you're in the world, but you should not be of it.
Yes, sir.
And things are gradually coming to an end, and gradually a beginning of the man really black man really becoming to be God, and the enemy of him really becoming to be nothing, or to be rubbed out of existence, period.
Yes, sir.
No two gods is going to exist at the same time with the same, with that's opposite, and we're going to live forever. That's not going to happen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Father. Absolutely understood. What are you expecting of those of us that are with you right now?
I'm expecting happiness. I'm expecting joy. I'm expecting a free will to do what has to be done to bring this into its fruition. I want to see this flourishing. I wanted to make sure that even the enemy see that, yes, I'm the enemy. Maybe I couldn't have done anything about it, but oh my God, I wish I was with them. You know, just like it's written, that biting its fingers in intense grief, wishing that they was with us. That can easily take place if the ones that are actually with me and with the hierarchy and the original Allah, if they would just actually allow themselves to be or express the knowledge that's being shared with them. They can expand their existence. They can multiply what they do here. We might do some of the same things that the enemy does, but not for the same purpose that he does it. You know, and that, to make a easy example of that, all of us breathe. But our breath is supposed to be utilized differently than the enemy's taking breath.
Yes, sir.
If that makes sense.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So even the same physical activity because it has a different purpose, it has to have a different result.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely,
Yes.
Father. Absolutely. And on top of that, Father, also the fact that nothing that's done in the world, even the most even the most exact sciences or the most the most intelligent technology or whatnot, none of it's done with the spirit of Allah.
No, sir. No, sir. It is never done with the spirit of Allah. It is done in purpose of being the ruler over other people. You know, not the one that takes advantage, rightfully advantage of nature in a way where it multiplies it or it complements it. The way that things are done now, even in other universes and whatnot. This force that's against what is right is only trying to keep itself alive by keeping those ones that didn't want to be right, keeping them enslaved.
Yes, sir.
And the ones that's enslaved, they know something is wrong, but they don't know how to fix it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Father. Absolutely. Well, and that because you just said that, I'd like to ask you this: would you share, Father, why our understanding, or us coming into our understanding of Allah, our understanding of the power that Allah has placed in us, and even our understanding of like what's happening around us, really? Would you share why that it has to happen so gradually, or what appears to be slowly? Would you share why it has to be like that?
Well, because it's like rearing a child. The child may not know what's dangerous. So it's the same thing with us. If we were to get it instantly, coming out of childhood, it's written that suffer unto us the little children, for within them is the kingdom of heaven. So
yes,
it says, the first thing it says, suffer unto us. It don't say, that's first, suffer.
Yes,
so it's the same thing. If we were allowed to, now we could do it, if we were allowed to just presto whammo, be into our full power as being God, nothing would exist.
Yes, sir.
In other words, everything is so wrong that there would be no such thing as purifying and bringing everything back into a pure state. It would be just annihilated, period.
Yes, sir.
So this is why it is written that Allah would put away his power and he would come to gradually turn this thing back around where everybody would be saved that wanted to be.
Yes, sir.
So that's why. It doesn't mean that it can't happen overnight. Matter of fact, it's also made known that within 12 hours, all of this could be gone in such a way that you would never know any opposition ever existed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Father. And we can't just the information or the knowledge that was shared with us in relationship to what the original law did in the or on the place where he sent the host.
Yes, sir.
Is evidence of that type of power.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that was very easy for the original law.
Yes, sir.
However, it's also written, and this is why everybody has to think. And don't be just passive. It's also written that Allah He's peaceful. He don't walk around being angry or going around being angry or upset. He wants to bring about peace, and that's what's happening. If that were not so, things would not be happening the way that it is happening. The Christians say God is love, which that really is true. God of righteousness is love. So when a person loves, they don't have in their being or in their thoughts things that are destructive.
Yes, sir.
And so because Allah is not destructive, that isn't something that he cares about. He can put it into motion and leave and let it go. What he put in motion, let it take place. Therefore, still leaving him at peace.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Allah doesn't stand there and experience.
He gets no gratification. He gets no gratification from that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Father. Absolutely. I definitely understand what you're saying. The same way how like we'll see on TV or we see in movies where like the Caucasian man will show his own nature, how they'll torture somebody and then people will go to witness the execution. When people get electrocuted, they actually have like a little theater room where people can come and sit and watch somebody get electrocuted.
Right.
And that type of nature isn't a part of law.
Right. That's true.
Yes, sir, Father. Absolutely.
Yes, that is not a law.
Father, when you speak about the idea of things being done gradually and how it has to be done gradually so that we will have proper understanding of the power we're coming into, one of the things that's taking place in the nation that's that is a consistent issue is that even though you have explained to us the necessity of doing simple things, a lot of us have a difficult time remembering and understanding why we need to consistently do what appear like mundane, simple duties. Like going on support raiser or baking or cooking or serving in a restaurant, things of that nature.
Right.
Would you explain why that's really happening? Why those are even duties that's a part of being with Allah? Why those things even exist?
Yes, sir. Well, we do have a physical body, and we are in hell. And, it's the saying is, you don't have your head in the lion's mouth and jerk on his tail. You're going to get your head bit off. So the same thing with us. We are in the den of iniquity. We're in hell. Hell is not, we say, in the ground, so to say. To a righteous man, to a God, there is no such thing as hell. And where it's real hot and it cooks. We go through there. We don't have that kind of experience. But for those that are physical, and that is wrapped up in negative things, that kind of existence or that kind of heat, they can't stand that. And to give an example, if you are approaching or interrogating a person that has done something wrong, and the more thorough your interrogation is, to them, they start sweating and getting out of hand and feeling like they can't take it no more because they're guilty. And the hate builds up in their own thinking. It ain't real hate.
Yes, sir.
If you understand what I'm saying.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So it's the same thing with us. 90% of what is being done the same way that our enemy does it. However, what we do in that 90%, the purpose of why it's being done, to take out of us the negative that the other 90% brings about.
Yes, sir.
In other words, if you're in the water, you can't walk in it, especially if you're in a river or ocean. So you have to do what is necessary to go along with the laws of that particular body of water to keep yourself afloat.
Yes, sir, Father.
So it's the same thing here in the pit of hell in the United States here. If certain things you cannot do without paying for it. However, if you are with me, you may be able to do quite a few things that ordinarily you wouldn't be able to do in the way the world does it.
Yes, sir.
But the way we do it, or the way I have it done, we're even praised by our enemies for doing it.
That's right. That's right. Yes, sir, Father. Father, I would like to ask you if you would.
Just a moment. Just a moment. I don't know if I won't say I don't know. I would like to make sure that this is really understood.
Yes.
The members that are with me, the hierarchy, the original law, since I'm in a physical body at this time, if you're really with me, you should have nothing to worry about other than just being right. Now, you don't have to worry about that. Just do it. And quite a bit of flexibility comes in with that, because we are dealing with all kinds of example and life forms, not just white people. We're dealing with aliens and the enemies of Allah in the unseen, and Satan himself and the things that he keeps whispering to us. So it's a myriad of wrong that's always confronting us. However, as dark as 100 midnights, when the sun rises, it's gone.
Yes,
so if you're with me, you don't worry about it. You don't have no worries about how many people that is against right. If you're right and you're with me, it's be the same thing as 100 darknesses, dark as 100 midnights. It's gone as soon as the light comes.
Absolutely.
That's the same with me. If you're with me,
yes,
I don't care how dark you think it is. If you're with me, it'll leave and you won't be able to see it. And that's why sometimes we are taken advantage of, because we don't see the trick that the person is offering us. Because, we're not looking for it. And it don't threaten us. And usually, according to what degree that you are with me, when the trick comes to you, if you're really with me, you start smiling because you see it right away. Oh, please, this is what they're coming with? Oh,
yes,
thank
sir.
you, but no thank you.
Yes, sir, Father. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a wow. What you just shared, Father, is something that I recognize not only to be true. However, for my own self and for those of us who are with you, I really see that that's something that we can bear witness to as well. That every single day, being in the nation, being with you, every single day things get better.
Yes, sir.
And there's no time when I can look at where we are and see that we're less than what we were.
Yes, sir.
Every time I look and see where we are, or even where I am as an individual, where anyone who's with you is, everybody gets better just from being with you. And even people even those who don't really apply themselves to the degree that they should, even though they develop more slowly, even they develop so far ahead of what anything else in the world is happening. It's amazing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That idea really, that I really see the truth of what you shared, Father. That it is absolutely no way to stay here, be with you, be with the original law, be experiencing this kind of power, and at the same time, not experience the kind of happiness or the kind of pleasure that you have in mind for us to experience.
That's right. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, Father. Absolutely. Well, that particular idea it is in harmony with what I wanted to ask you about next, and this is because I'm asking you about this, Father, because there's a lot of individuals who speak to themselves in such a way where they will create for themselves a scenario or a problem when one doesn't really exist.
Right.
And one of the main ways it's happening, or that has come up recently, is the person speaking to themselves about being tired of, or bored with, or any of those kind of things, whatever the actual duty that they have is.
Yes, sir.
So, the person may go from, Atlanta to New Jersey to Dayton to wherever, but they're a cook in each place. So the person will start speaking to themselves like, oh, well, I'm tired of being a cook.
Right.
And then after a while of speaking to themselves like that, eventually they'll talk themselves into doing something real crazy because, they were tired of it and Allah didn't know, or Allah ignored it, or whatever their person's thinking. would you speak to that idea, Father? Anybody who's feeling like they are bored with or tired of what it is that they're doing?
Yes, sir. What takes place when a person is doing one thing constantly and consistently, and just that one thing, they have shut off the possibilities of other things. Meaning that once you perfect what you're doing, in the process of perfecting it, it builds your nature up to be perfect in everything. So since you've perfected this particular thing, now you're looking forward to doing something else. Because once you are perfect at doing something, it always leads to something else. Now, in the course of that, what takes place is that you will find someone to replace you in what you are doing. So you will have time to adventure off in something else that may attract your attention to perfect that or become perfect at that. What the members usually do, they didn't want to do what they're doing in the first place. So they're doing it because the reason why it should be done makes sense to them. Not that they're in agreement with it, it just makes sense.
Yes, sir.
And after a certain period of time, just to making sense, and they're not in agreement with it, they run out of the patience to be perpetual in it. And they never look at something else while they're doing that. You know, let me perfect this, and I can do something else. You know, they don't do that. Especially if they're with me. There is no end to things that can be done. And just for an example, just for your clearings and things that is in the unseen, I hope you all know that shortly you're going to be in the unseen and seen according to how you want it to be. They don't mean just because you flipping, burgers or pancakes or whatnot, and that's what all is going to happen. But this is something that we have done as far as maintaining the physical part of us. We have a physical nation. The original law and the hierarchy don't have no nation. They just is. If you understand what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
And this is the process of creating. You can't be a god if you're going to be a cook and that's all you do. While you're perfecting it, something else will come across. We're not so negligent in our duty not to cause you to want to advance. If we didn't want you to advance, we would let you stay over there with Farrakhan and them. They do nothing. And even he got to the point of, man, I got to come up with something. Let's try the Scientologists.
Yes, sir.
So the members have got to get it together. They have got to see the whole picture of what Allah is causing them to be. They just have to be in harmony with it and put forth the energy to actually progress.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Father. Absolutely. Absolutely. I understand. And Father, that idea is going to be, for everybody who listens to this, that's in the nation, that is the idea, what you just expressed, that will save a lot of people's lives, because that way of thinking has allowed a lot of us to make very poor decisions that we have to pay for.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, Father.
Yes, sir.
Father, would you share with us some of, and I know you've done this before, Father. I know that over the course of the time you've been teaching, you've shared with us a lot of different experiences that you've had. However, I would like to ask if you would relay of the different things that's taken place with you leading up to, before we even knew about a nation or, that kind of thing. Would you share some of the ideas or things that took place that stand out to you that help to prepare you to experience the kind of freedom that you're experiencing now? I know, for instance, you shared a number of times about the other family of 10 children that you had to go to.
Yes, sir.
And how the scientists shared with you weren't going to like it, but go anyway because it's good for you.
Right.
And, there's a number of experiences like that you've had. I'm wondering if you would share, any of them that stand out to you, because a lot of us lack the motivation to do something that we might not like because it's good for us. A lot of us lack that motivation. However, I would wonder if you would refresh the members on some of the things that, how you've actually done that, and that helped to produce what we experience now.
Well, I developed a longing for knowledge or the knowing of things. I can remember starting off with this. I wonder why I was so pleased with the warmth of the sun. I was a little fellow, and my grandmother, you know how grandmothers are, they be on you. And, so, I had to take a nap every day at 1 o'clock, and I didn't want to go to sleep. So
Yes, sir.
I would go out of the house and go sit in the sun on the side of the house where the sun was shining on.
Yes, sir.
And it would feel so good when I used to wonder, why is that? I mean, it feels better than anything in the house, anything that I eat. It's just something that comforts my soul.
Yes,
So I used to wonder about that. And then it came from that on, to where we are now. I would see a rose, and I would wonder why the leaves curl the way they are and what made it the color. Those kind of things, because it brought pleasure to my thinking. Not so much the body itself, but for the actual is or the reality of things. It excited me in a way where it caused me to be deeply appreciative of those kinds of things. And so that just multiplied right on up until now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Father.
If that answers the question.
Yes, sir, Father. And those of us that's with you, we should take on that kind of thinking. Like, I remember you sharing with us a long time ago, Father, that the idea of counting the steps when we walk in the house.
Yes, sir.
Or the bathroom tiles, while the person is using a water closet.
Right. Yes, sir.
And you share with us, the idea of how you would utilize math in your own thinking about the simplest things, and how doing that actually was an exercise that helps to make you Allah. Or not make you Allah, but helps you to be who you are.
Yes, sir.
So I see that what you're expressing about the type of things that you're thinking about, the person who's frustrated because they're still cooking or they're still serving or baking, if their mind was entertaining, why the rose petals curl the way they do, then it would cause them to have a pursuit outside of just the physical motion that they're in.
Yes, sir. In other words, it develops a respect that causes one to really grow in a balanced manner. Now that I know what the rose is, I know why it curls up, and I know why I like the sun so much. I know all this, and I respect it. And so when I see something other than that, it never reaches or presents the power to me that the natural thing does. So it doesn't attract me in a way where whatever is opposite of that, engulfs me or traps me up.
Yes.
All I got to do is just think back to a beautiful day, and like I heard you say, you don't have no bad days or sad days. That's got to be because you or anyone else that is experiencing the same thing respect that which is real, that which you found here when you got here. And I don't mean you may have found white folks here, but you can see they shouldn't be here. But the rose and the sunshine and whatnot, they're supposed to be here because they do not offend us.
Yes, sir, Father. Yes, sir, Father. Well, yes, sir, absolutely. Praise be to you in the original law that we're having this opportunity to not have bad days, because everybody else has more bad than good.
Yes,
and the best they have is good. They don't have any right days.
Yes, sir. And even the way they got it now, they don't want no good days because in their mind it sets them up for a worse day.
That's right. Yes, sir, Father. Absolutely. Absolutely. Man, that's amazing. The person is even scared to experience something that's positive.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, Father. Absolutely. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Father. That's something that's going to benefit all of us. I have something to ask you about that that you have spoken with us about numerous times recently. However, this particular idea is the evidence supports that it's not properly understood, and that is you leaving to go be with the original law, or being taken to go be with the original law.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to know, Father, if you would share first, how do you see your absence from us? How do you see leaving or being taken to go be with the original law? That whole idea of that experience. How do you see that?
Well, I see it. I'm already with him.
Yes,
that I'm not with you all physically like I were.
Yes, sir.
I haven't gone with him. However, I'm with him in a much closer way than I was experiencing when I was with you all.
Yes, sir.
However, I am in this particular mode of action or reality for the express purpose of ushering in perfection. It's not that I am not perfect. I am perfect for what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. Now, in my own, which I do have, God bless the person that has his own. So I have my own universe, my own everything.
Yes, sir.
So therefore, when I'm completed and Allah is completely satisfied with me as to what I have done with him and for him in the hierarchy, well then, I'm free to go to my own universe.
Yes, sir.
If that's clear.
Yes, sir, Father.
So to be away from you all is like a parent allowing the child to take charge of the house while he's gone.
Yes, sir.
You seen the movie Home Alone?
Yes, sir, Father. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, if the parent had reared the child properly, he would have no problems. He wouldn't have all that stuff, they showed. So it's the same thing with us. I have brought you up to make sure that you have a conscious awareness of a greater power than what you were existing in or thinking in. Now, you should have experienced quite a bit of it. So let me step aside for a moment so you can actually see it instead of seeing me.
Yes,
the
sir.
person. It don't mean I won't return. However, when I do return, and after I've actually gone with Allah, I may make one more tour or whatnot before that actually takes place. But when I'm gone and the pronounced change has taken place with me, physically and mentally and spiritually, well then, you all are going to see that, because if I'm going to make you just like me, you have to see what me is.
Yes, sir.
If that's clear.
Yes, sir, Father. Absolutely. Absolutely. And Father, I know that this is an idea that you've spoken to the last several times you spoke with us. However, every once in a while, there's still this idea that comes up as if there's the possibility of your absence from us being for any other reason other than what you presented. So, and I know a lot of that is based upon fear.
Yes,
And you've taught us from the beginning not to be personal. That we're supposed to be learning to be like you. That we're supposed to be learning to think the way that you think. You've taught us these things. However, when it gets down to it, that's one thing. However, when you say, "Okay, I'm leaving," then a lot of us experience quite a bit of fear, and in that fear, it's produced people saying things that are foolish. However, I'm very appreciative that you're speaking to it. The next part of that, Father, though, is what should we be expecting to experience while you're gone?
Well, you should be expecting opportunity. That's what you should be expecting. When the parents leave the child, or, as long as you're a child or a baby or whatnot, they keep the child very close to them. And as the child develops and grows and has a little bit of time under his belt, well then, the more distant it becomes between him and his father.
Yes, sir.
Until the father don't have to be concerned about him anymore, because they have grown apart from each other, but they've grown more in love, but physically apart. He goes out and get his own wife and family and starts over. So the same thing with those of you all that's in the nation that are supposed to be with me. It would be unjust for me to stay right with you all the time, because it would stunt your growth. You still be looking at me instead of realizing that I'm making you just like me. But you won't know it as long as you're right in my presence.
Sir. Yes, sir, Father. Absolutely.
If that's clear.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Father. That every time you speak on you leaving, it's really beneficial. It brings more clarity and more clarity. And I know, and even though the idea of what you're expressing is the same as what you expressed to us the first time, each time you speak to it, it makes it much more clear. Because this is one of those ideas that a lot of those in the nation have experienced either doubt in relationship to or fear about. So thank you very much for adding more to that. I appreciate that, Father.
Well, I have a question for you and the listeners in regards to who you are. Have you ever seen me afraid?
No, sir.
So I'm most certainly not afraid of the nation or anybody else or anything else. The fear doesn't come up to me like that.
Yes, sir.
So I don't have to lie. I can't do what I promised, so let me run away and hide. That's absurd. That's crazy.
Yes, sir.
That's crazy. And the things that I have introduced you to, if there was going to be any fear, it would be of that instead of y'all.
Yes, sir, Father. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So when people are thinking that way, they're just being, weak in their thinking, and they want to keep having a crutch. So they want to put the blame someplace. No. You're going to have to learn how to walk. If you fall down, get back up. If you skin your knee, it'll heal. And when you learn to be very careful and respectful of things, then you'll start seeing me. Oh, thank you, Father. I didn't know it was like this. Thank you. And you would not have known it if I stayed right in your presence consistently the way I have been. And don't mean because you don't see me, I'm not there. I most certainly am.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Father. Yes, sir, Father. Absolutely. And, I can answer for everybody that nobody's seen you express any type of fear. And that's regardless of whether it be opposition to who you are or whether it be us experiencing the kind of opposition that, that the way we used to live, like brothers get locked up or, their child support come after them. Everything that we've even experienced, we haven't seen you express any fear in telling us how to deal with it.
Yes, sir.
Much less anything that you've experienced. So I can answer for everybody. None of us have seen that. And on top of that, Father, it's, at least to my way of thinking, it's rather foolish for a person to, I'll use the language believe, but, they believe that you're going to run away to go be with, you're going to get on the mothership and run away to be with the original Allah. Well, just if they believe that you got the power to get on the mothership and go be with the original Allah, that means you have enough power not to be afraid of us. It doesn't make any sense.
That's right. Well, they have not internalized what I have been sharing with them. It also reads in the Scripture. Speaking to me, or speaking to Solomon, speaking to the Son of Man. Fear not. If I'm being told to fear not, I'm most certainly not going to fear y'all.
Yes, sir, Father.
If I stay here, you can't do what I'm doing. If I leave, you can't stop it. Just for the reason of me showing up here in the first place and doing what I have done and is doing shows that I'm for you, not against you. What you have been living has been against you, and you act as though you have an addiction to it and you can't get rid of it. It's like you on crack or something. And, I'm the doctor to come to take you off of it, but, while you in my presence, you say, "Oh yeah, doc, I felt good today. I didn't take it." As soon as you leave, you're hitting it, and then wonder why you got to keep coming back to me.
Yes, sir, Father. Yes, sir, Father. Understood. And speaking of crack, that brings me to the next question I wanted to ask you about. Would you share with us? And this is the last thing I want to ask you before we get into the other questions. However, would you share with us, Father, what your thoughts are on those who leave the nation and or conduct themselves in such a way where they have to be put out of the nation? What are your thoughts on those individuals?
Well, at this particular time, it is like, to me, is something that is real, meaning that, occasionally, and this is just being humorous, I have to take a bath or a shower. And the reason why I have to do that is to get off of me the things that's unwanted, that came on me or that came out through my sweat glands or whatever it is no longer necessary for it to be a part of me. So I take some water and wash that boy off. So it's the same thing with those that claim to have been with me and did not understand, did not drink of the waters of life, and now they are coming up in their own thinking, well, this is a sham, I got to go, this ain't right, he's this and he's that and he's the other. It's just like, as far as I'm concerned, I just had a bath.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Father.
Because there isn't nothing that they can do. They've tried this even in my infancy, so to say, to offer me up to Satan, to try to get me to go to jail, to try to get the FBI, CIA, Internal Revenue, all this that's available to them has been heaped upon me. None of it stuck.
Yes, sir.
So, so the same thing, like I say, with the dirt that come from me, and the ones that's in the United Nations of Islam that claim to have been with me, and that's really not. It's like the same thing. That's the dirt that's in the United Nations of Islam is being washed away.
Yes, sir, Father. Yes, sir, Father. Absolutely. Absolutely. I definitely see that.
Yes, sir.
There's one more follow-up to that particular question, and that is there is a way of thinking that clearly exists among some of those who either have left or who act real crazy until they just have to be put out. That whenever they are ready to return, you will show them mercy and allow them back.
Well, that's what you call Russian roulette.
Yes, sir, Father.
I'm not saying that none can come back. Is what they have learned or what they have come to the reality of in their absence concerning me and the hierarchy and the written law and the righteous. If they truly have learned something that's truly true, well, then there is a consideration that it's a possibility that they may return. However, it would be like you have a duty on the outside of the house, working in the garden or working in the back field. You're still on the property, but you can hardly see the house because you're so far away from the field, so far away in the field.
Yes, sir.
So it's unwise to take that kind of approach. If you want to be right with me, well, then be with me. Not away, and then after a while, count on my mercy to have you with me. Look at Pluto. It used to be the furthest planet away from the sun.
Yes, sir.
But it's still in the same laws of the sun. But it don't get the heat. It get the force and power, but it don't get the heat that we do.
Yes, sir.
So it's the same principle with those ones that think, well, I'll stay away and be crazy for a while, and at the last minute, like some of the Christians say, just when I'm on my dying bed, I know I've been a rascal all my life, but on my dying bed, I'll ask God to forgive me, and I'll let him know I was sorry, and then I'll go to heaven. Ain't gonna happen.
Yes, sir, Father. Absolutely. Okay, that's because the detractors are going to hear this too. So I just, it's good information for them to have, because a lot of people really do think that, Father, that they'll do whatever they want, and when they want to come back, either that you'll let them back. And even people have even said things like they'll go out in the world, they'll lead the nation, and they'll just move down to Atlanta, so when the mother plane come, they'll see it. Things like that.
That's comical.
That express the kind of that the person is taking Allah's mercy as weakness.
Well,
Allah has to show it.
Well, this is like Allah is telling you to be at the train station. He'll be there to pick you up. And at so-and-so time, so-and-so day. You come the next day at the same time, but it's a day late.
Yes.
And like now you think that because it's a train station, the train is so long, you can get on the caboose.
Yes, sir.
However, you don't know how fast the train gonna move.
Yes, sir.
So the station don't move, but the train is gone.
Absolutely.
So that's the same thing with that kind of thinking. In other words, even with the members, the ones that stay out, the ones that have been a member and they stayed out, when they come back around us, they don't even speak the same language because they thinking that, they can come back and say the same things and do the same things they were when they were here before they left. But when they come back, they find out, man, like they speaking a strange language. It's not we speaking it, you're speaking it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Father. Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Understood.
There's no standing still here.
Absolutely. Can be proven. Because,
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
even a person who left, I was thinking about it the other day, Father, somebody who left, let's say 2 years ago, you know,
Right.
it was 2008, and they had been with you since 1995 or whatever. They left 2008. They come back now. They don't know who the original law is. They don't know what a hierarchy is. They don't know what a clearing is. They don't know anything.
That's right. That's right.
So everything that we're doing would seem like, you know, like all of the 13 years they might have spent before almost would mean nothing compared to where we are now. Just
Right.
the 2 years they missed.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir, Father. Well, Paul, at this point in the interview, we have questions that have been posed to you from other places in creation.
All right.
And these questions, for everyone who's listening, these questions are from, some of them are from places in this particular universe that are not a part of our solar system. Some of them are from two of the other universes that listen in to what it is that we're being taught and that are learning about Allah at the same time we are learning this, and that Father's been speaking about for quite a while. And they have posed a number of questions that they'd like for you to answer, Father. And one of the things that is important to note for everybody who's listening about these questions is that none of these questions are an individual being's questions. Each of these questions represents a experience or thought that is shared by many individuals, which is why it's being asked of Father to answer. Father, if it's in harmony with you, I'd like to pose I'd like to pose all of these questions to you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Father. First, one of the other two universes is expressing this idea. We find it to be a wonderful thing to receive the opportunity and knowledge that is being given. However, we find so much heavy resistance from various sources that are not in harmony with what's being expressed. How do we guard ourselves from them?
The knowledge that you are gaining from us, or listening to myself and others, has to be expressed in a gradual manner. If it is expressed suddenly, you're going to have quite a bit of opposition. Not that you're wrong. However, there must be time to grasp this or accept it, so it can be a point of freedom instead of a disappointment.
Yes, sir.
So usually, this knowledge that you're gaining, if you express it in a way and discuss it and start putting things in motion to do it gradually, allow yourself or allow the tide to change. This is why, on this particular planet, we have water that moves and, it's constantly on the move. And the larger the body is, the more force it is. So if we were to change it immediately, it would bring about a drastic change that caused everybody to witness unpleasantry. However, it's done gradually, so nothing is disturbed, and in the end results, everything changes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Father.
If that answers your question.
It does for me, and if it doesn't answer it for them, they can let us know, and we'll make sure that we cover it more thoroughly. However, Father, that particular idea is something that we, all of us that are with you here in the nation, can bear witness to, because everybody who comes in, at first, whatever they learn, what comes up in the person is they want to do it right now. All of it,
yes,
right now.
Right.
So, even everybody they see, they start telling about it right now.
Right. And everyone that I have witnessed that got so excited about what they were hearing, and they wanted to change right away. They may have lasted a month or 2 months, and look up, they were gone.
Yes, sir, Father. Yes, sir, Father. So what you just shared with the other universe is something we definitely can bear witness to.
Yes.
That's exactly how it has to be.
Yes, sir. And I'll say this: what you're hearing from me in the hierarchy and what they do is infallible. You cannot go wrong. It's just the method in which you employ to make it real in your life.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Father. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
The second question, Father, and this comes from the other of the two universes that listen. We see that what is being expressed is greater than anything that we have seen. However, how can these ideas take place when most motion is against it manifesting?
This is where change comes in. The motion, nothing goes into motion without a power behind it. The power that is behind the motion that you have going on now has to change its direction and give it time to change, and then you will realize the change, and you will see the power being manifested right before you, and things will start taking place. In other words, this is a definite. It's not a by chance thing. So it's not necessary for it to happen presto whammo immediately right away. What has to happen right away? The change has got to start right away. This is like a child being a child. However, the end result, even in the child's mind, is to be a productive adult. So they have to grow into that, not jump into it. So if you're in something now for trillions of years, and now you hear this and you see there's a possibility that a change is possible, then the method to go about changing is what you need to know.
Yes, sir, Father. Yes, sir, Father. Absolutely.
Okay.
And
let me say this.
Yes, sir.
Fear not. All of those that really want the change, regardless of how hard it appears to be to make it, we are backing you. There is nothing that anyone does, any form, any energy that takes place that can get away with what we allow to take place. They cannot do without it or come against it and win.
Yes, sir.
So our will is to make every living atom free. Not where it submits to another atom, unless that is based on its freedom to do so.
Yes, sir. That's powerful. Yes, sir, Father. Absolutely.
Okay.
Wow. Yes, sir, Father. The next question is, we have agreed and made many, many changes since the beginning of your broadcasting. Many of the many changes are being undone because we find difficulty sticking to them. It is hard for some. How do we inspire loyalty to the agreed changes?
Well, it goes right back to the same question that I just answered. This is to be done gradually. Suddenly, if you do things suddenly, it's not going to last because you have not given it enough time to become you. This is like a person jumping into the ocean, and they're wet, they're very thirsty, but they jump in, but they can't drink the water, but they're in nothing but water.
Yeah.
So same thing with this. You are baptizing yourself in the wisdom of what you're hearing, but it has to be digested in such a way where you can digest it to make it serve you. If you try to do it right away, this is true, it's not you yet. You have it in your mind, but it hasn't become you. It's the same thing as eating food or taking something internally. When you first take it, it's not you. After it's there for a while, it becomes you. And whatever part that the body is unable to use or utilize, the body has the power to get rid of it. That's the same thing with those oppositions that come to you in making the change. Once the change becomes you, the opposition becomes less. And less and less until there is no more opposition.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And man, Father, that is absolutely true. We can definitely bear witness to that because in our own development, no matter where we started from, the more, not just time, however, the more experience we get in using mathematical thinking or in applying what you've taught us, the less of a fight we give our own self and our own mind.
Yes, sir.
Like something as simple as like when a person tries to stop eating pork. At first, it's a real battle. Every time they see a pork chop, they want it.
Right.
And it gets to a point where most of us as in the nation are repulsed by the very idea of it.
Yes.
But at one time, you know, you couldn't have put a pig anywhere near the members, and they would have jumped on it and ate it raw. Now the very idea is something that we can't even imagine. So I mean, because there's less resistance in our own mind and heart about what we're experiencing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, Father. This question, Father, comes from beings from another part of this universe. And in particular, it's being noted that this part of the universe is further away than the devil's ability to display to us that it exists. Their question or their situation is, we are warriors. We are always at war with each other. This is our custom. This is our way. For you to become authority on our planet, you must be stronger than the authority. Conquer. How can a war planet become a peaceful planet? Less than one half of us listen to your teaching.
That's the question?
Yes, sir, Father.
Well, they are warriors based on their knowledge of what warrior is.
Yes, sir.
They haven't met the real warriors. In other words, they're talking about their planet or whatever. We're speaking universe and universes. In order to be triumph over that, they have now, if they are taking a liking to what we're saying or want to be with us, they're meeting the real warriors. And we will show them how to war, because they're warring against something that's futile. It will never bring them peace. The real war or the real battle is battle against ignorance, and that breaks your peace. So if they're constantly warring, that means they're not ever at peace. So we're the ones that are here to bring about peace. So that means we're the master warrior.
Yes, sir, Father. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Wow. Father, this next question is coming from one of the other two universes. And
well, let me say this again before I leave this.
Yes, sir.
If warring is in your nature, we have to provide something for you to be justified in warring against, other than just yourself. So we do have, if you want to justify your ability to go at war, we can give you a few assignments that will cause us to be happy and you to be happy in your ability to wage war and win.
Yes, sir, Father. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Father, what you just shared makes me think about the idea you were just expressing about peace. That to have a consistent or constant situation of war or battle in your planet or in your universe or in your home. You know, some people have that in their own house. That there is no such thing as ever really winning, because just the fact that you're constantly at war means nobody won.
Right.
And, you know, and even the people who are victorious in that particular struggle, they experience the discomfort of the war itself. As opposed to what you just expressed, in relationship to if a person's nature or if a being has in their nature to battle or to be a warrior, then to be able to apply that nature to an enemy that needs to go out of existence, period, means there's actually an opportunity to win, period.
That's right. Yes, sir. Yes,
compared to the kind of constant struggle that's being described by these particular beings.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, Father. The next question comes from one of the other two universes, and in particular, these are beings from a separate part of the universe, not separate, however, from a specific portion of this universe that have this particular situation. With your teaching come a great responsibility. Our Creator is struggling with that responsibility. Our selves are connected, He to us and us to Him. We can no longer trust Him because of His struggle. We can no longer grow. How can we disconnect ourselves to be independent, to free apply the teaching?
That's a good one. Well, this is what is happening. If their leader or the one that's in charge, if he or that life form shows submission to what they're hearing, or to the God that is making him, to Allah that is making Allah known, then what is needed will be shared with them.
Yes, sir.
It is not to our advantage to take on something that is perpetually stagnant and have no will to change. They may not be able to change, however, if they show a willingness to be changed, and it's done right and from truth, we most certainly would change them. In other words, it appears to me, from the way they are describing themselves, they are not from the Creator. They're from someone that has been created, and then they created somebody, and then they created. Now that's their Creator. They're like 3 steps down from the original Creator. However, Allah still allowed to recognize them enough to allow them to have a certain form of life. So if they want it in a pure and a free way where they can advance and become closer to being like the original Allah, well, then they have to show a willingness to be able for Allah, well, to cause Allah to change whatever needs to be changed or add to it, or whatever, to make sure that they experience the glory of life instead of a perpetual stagnation of it.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir, Father. Yes, sir. Wow.
Well, let me give an example of this. You know, at one time on this particular planet, and I'm sure in quite a few others, you know, the serpent stood up. You know, the snake,
yes, sir,
stood up upright. However, because of what he thought and what he did and the treachery that he brought about in the presence of Allah, now he can't get up off his belly. You know, you may see him fly through the air, some and whatnot, but they still got to come back down and crawl on their body. They cannot stand up straight and walk. You know, let's be a reptilian, and then that way they're not here in the form of a physical sense, so to say. They have to take somebody's body. If I'm sharing this in a way to show that the changes can take place without the person ability to change, because the serpent most certainly would not want to be on his belly. He wanted to always be upright. But the power of Allah, because of what he did, put him on his belly. So if they exercise their power to want to be right, want to be free, you know, want to grow, want to see, then Allah can also do that.
Yes, sir, Father. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, sir. Wow. Father, you got me with snakes flying through the air. I can't handle flying snakes. That's no problem.
Well, they're rare.
That is a problem. Yes, sir, Father. Absolutely. That I did is quite clear.
Well, it's not a long distance that they fly.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Father, the other of the 2 universes, beings from a particular portion of that universe, are posing this next question. We are, and this is their language. We are as one. One is as we. What I thinks, all thinks. What all thinks, I thinks. One wants to serve Allah and Allah only. Note, their culture doesn't ask questions. They only make statements as definite and look to receive a definite statement in return. The closest that I can translate this question, or the closest that I can translate this as a question, is what is our first instruction, or how may we, one, serve Allah?
By accepting the change. In other words, this is the definite. change to be changed.
Yes, sir.
That's all they need to do. In other words, this is like all for one and one for all. Well, Allah is making all things new, not most, all things new. And if what they're thinking is right, there's nothing wrong with that. However, if it's in a stagnant way, well then, to be with Allah, we will change that if they all think in a way of what we want to change.
Yes, sir.
Now, for the right change.
Yes, sir.
If they're going to make the right change to be closer to Allah or to be able to experience the change that Allah is bringing in, that's what will take place.
Yes.
However, they are already experiencing what we will be coming into. All for one and one for all.
Yes.
So I will make all of them just like me. But we're free. We're creative. There is nothing that hinders us from being free, and that's very important.
Yes, sir, Father. This is another question from one of the two universes, and this is wow. This question is: because of what has been taught, our unseen abilities have tremendously increased. We are second to none in unseen abilities in our universe. We are raising our vibration. Because of this, when we come into our physical bodies, we experience great pain and suffering. Our bodies now reject us. We cannot continue to perfect ourselves. How do we produce a body that will submit?
Oh. Well, we will share some knowledge with them in their unseen state that will cause them to be able to prepare the body or bring about the necessary changes in those bodies that they already have that will make the physical to submit. That's not a hard thing to do. It just shows that change is in the way. They're growing. So the physical, is not going to grow as fast as the spiritual or the entity that is experiencing this. It's like a man that has gained weight. He's got a little bicycle, and he's gained weight. Now, every time he get on it, the bicycle is too small for him. The tires bust. Or he got a little teeny car. He get in, he can't hardly get out. It's too small for him. So he has to go to work. He shouldn't lose weight or shouldn't change himself, but he should change what he's riding in or what he's getting on. So that's the only thing that has to take place now. And if they don't know, don't be concerned about it. Don't stay in the body that much until you learn how to change it, and we will show you. Or at least give the knowledge or point the knowledge towards you so you'll know how to change it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that's not difficult at all. It's like almost you ever walked up to a house and they got a dog there and he just walks like viciously and whatnot. and you throw him a steak and he starts choking on it and whatnot. Then he looks at you and you want to lick your fingers and all that kind of stuff. In other words, you change him around just that quick.
Yes, sir, Father.
So the body can be changed also.
Yes, sir. Wow, Father, that's man. What the question and your response to the question reminds me of something that you told us, you instructed us to give thought to when you wrote the solution, The Body of Allah.
Yes, sir.
You instructed us to give thought to what would have to be done to produce a body that could respond to that kind of power.
Yes, sir.
And here we see, and you did that months and months ago. However, and now we see, or we hear a question being posed from beings in another place who are now having to pursue that same type of study or that same type of knowledge that you instructed us to pursue months ago when you wrote that solution. That really stands out to me, Father. How much you prepare us for everything that's going to happen, even when we don't realize it. That's really powerful.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, change is taking place.
Yes, sir, Father. Absolutely. The last question, Father, is from beings that are a part of this universe. Again, this particular place is further than the devil's ability to see in this universe. However, they are still a part of this particular universe. This is their question. We are not native to any star, as our star died many, many star lives ago. We are in darkness, yet we heard and listened to your calling. We were once knowledgeable and powerful, but we fell out of glory just as our star fell from light. At most, we ask permission to guard the planet Earth from outside forces, as we know that this will be a process, and this process should be supported and protected.
So they're asking permission to guard the planet Earth?
Yes, sir.
I think that duty has already been taken. However, would they have the knowledge to know how to guard it, since they've been in darkness so long?
Well, we're going to have to get somebody who knows how to relay that message.
In other words, any motion of right, we do not stop.
Yes, sir.
Now, to guard the earth, that particular duty is already in motion. However, if they're going to learn from our permission of allowing them to help to do that, well, then I don't see where we would stop them. However, since they've been in darkness for so long, the reason they need light first before they are permitted to do that. And the reason why they lost their light should be made known. Because anyone that's in the light, and if Allah is with you, the light is never taken from you. So the light, what they should ask, would we send the light or give them knowledge to produce the light? So the thing would be much more apparent.
Yes, sir, Father. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I definitely see that, Father. Absolutely. And this all of these beings that generally listen into the meetings and whatnot, they're able to receive the answers at the same time as the members are. So I definitely see that, Father, how that they really should pursue the knowledge that will bring them back up into modern time or back to where they should be, and then they can make an assessment as to how they can help.
Well, we most certainly do understand, because just for the mere fact that quite a few people that has been in the nation, or even with the messenger, they wanted to come up and protect him and guard him and whatnot. You know, they thought they was protecting him, but he was protecting them. You know, he allowed them, you know, so others could see that he did have ones with them, and even with me, you know, when I'm speaking and whatnot, just to show that there are those that do have concern about my safety. You know, they may come and stand behind me or beside me or something of that nature. But really, I'm protecting them. They ain't protecting me.
Absolutely.
So if they come, if we allow them to come, whatnot, you know, we still would have to protect them. You know, because as far a lot, let me say it this way, there are life forms that see us and think that we are really immature, you know, don't have no power. That's not necessary for us to, the ones that's in the nation, to have that like they think we should have at this time. However, there are those that is protecting us that no one can get around.
Yes, sir.
So it's the same thing, you know, the one standing with me and thinks that, well, I'm going to protect Father, I'll stand with him, and I've studied 10 years in karate and martial arts, and I got it.
Yes, sir.
They got some beings out here, look at it, what? They could be cracking up. All they have to do is look at them and they'll be fell out. So really, I'm protecting them, not to be hurt. They think they're protecting me.
Absolutely, absolutely. The air that the person is breathing is there because Allah is making it possible. The ground they're standing on is standing still because Allah is making it possible. Everything that even makes that happen is happening because of Allah, not the other way around.
That's right. That's right.
Yes, sir.
Well, let me say this to them. We are most certainly grateful and thankful that they would even offer their assistance. You know, that is not going unnoticed. You know, that's something that is in their favor. So, if they really want want the light to come back, well, then they will have to be genuine in asking. And we most certainly will see if it's justified to take place. If it is, it'll happen almost instantly.
Yes, sir, Father. Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir, Father.
Now, you know what we call instant, right?
God, a lot of times is different. That's right.
Oh, just being humorous, all right.
Father, before we go any further, I'd like to point out to those who listen to this, who are listening and who will hear this, how blessed we are. I mean, and just for everybody who's listening, just think about what we just got the opportunity to witness and be a part of. We got to actually listen to other parts of creation, other universes, other life forms that we can't see or even imagine necessarily. Ask questions of the Supreme Being, and the Supreme Being answer them, and we get to be, we get front row seats for this. It's amazing. Not amazing is the right word. It's such a blessing to have the experience that we're having being with you, Father, that these kind of things, because of what it is that you and the original law and the hierarchy are doing, they're becoming almost natural, or they seem like a part of our life. However, these things are incredible when we really look at what we just witnessed just a moment ago. I mean, these are all around creation asking you for assistance, and we had the privilege to listen to the type of wisdom that Allah would give to them. I think that's something that's that's something that's awesome, and that none of us should miss what we just saw.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And Father, something else that stands out is that what just took place with these questions being posed to you and you responding. When you came off the 90 days, you came and shared with us about how that happened when none of us were around to see it.
Right.
This, you shared with us that during 9 days that these beings came and this one came and this was their problem, and you shared it with us. And you shared with us some of what you shared with them. However, as everything progresses and as everyone grows and as praise be to Allah, time grows, in this next portion of this happening, we're getting the privilege to watch it happen.
Yes, sir.
So, I see the elevation in that, even just from what happened during 90 days.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, Father. So thank you very much. That's incredible. And again, for everybody who listens to this, don't miss the blessing that we just saw. Father spoke to us about us, and then we got to listen to Father solve problems and advise other parts of creation who are having situations and need Allah's assistance. That's really an amazing blessing. So I hope nobody takes that for granted. Father, before I stop asking you questions, I have one other thing I'd like to ask of you, if you would describe to us or express to us.
Yes, sir.
Father, would you share with us or describe to us what your experience has been being with the original Allah?
Well, in this language is indescribable. However, it is it's something more than freedom. It's like a person longing for gold, and when he realizes it, he is gold.
Yes, sir, Father.
And not from his own being or doing. It's because of the power that has accepted him and that he's with. So it's like in this language, it's kind of difficult to describe. It's much greater than love. Love is something that can change. This is something that is permanent. It's intangible. If that makes any kind of sense. In other words, everything is and is that is.
Yes.
And there is no letdown. There's no reformation. It always is. And it's very comfortable. And we can live a long time, maybe forever, with that kind of condition. Because there's nothing that's pointing towards death or decay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Father. Wow. Father, thank you very much for describing that to us. That gives us even more to look forward to than the kind of wonderful life we're having with each other now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, it's really indescribable. May I share this?
Yes, sir, Father.
There was one individual I used to describe or say, well, I love you. And I was doing it for the person so they would have no fear and they continue to grow and so forth, whatnot. And when I got to be very familiar with the original law, he says that won't continue to take place because the person really is incapable of receiving your love. If you really love them the way you said, first place I'm jealous, but if you love them the way you said, you kill them.
Yes, sir.
So I had to really think about that. But the reason why I was telling them that, to make them comfortable in receiving what I had to offer, and that was knowledge, so that they could pass it on to those that are supposed to be close to me. So I was made aware, or caused to be aware from the original Allah. I really haven't experienced love yet until I'm with Him in the hierarchy.
Yes, sir.
So this is what's happening.
Yes, sir, Father. Yes, sir. Father, is there anything else that you'd like to share with I guess all of creation that's listening to this before we adjourn this?
Yes, they should know for a surety, because the original Allah is making Himself known, and in the process of making Himself known, He's also letting everyone and every life form know that He has a lover of His own, which is me. There is the original Allah, and this is baby Allah. So there is no such thing as a loss or Him missing anything ever, ever, ever again. So it is in their best interest to know or to conduct themselves in such a manner that they also become loved by Him. And so all of creation can be pure and negative free in the sense of having something to do with our thoughts and the way we do things.
Yes, sir.
That's what I would like for everyone to know and accept and work very hard to make sure that they confirm or comply with that request.
Yes, sir, Father. Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Father. I feel very blessed to have been able to have the opportunity to ask you these questions, and we as a nation, thank you very much for extending yourself to us again to give us more knowledge and more power. We really appreciate this, Father. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
With that, Father, we'll close it out until next time. Assalamu alaikum.